Hey, what's up everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Hey guys, happy Monday. It's September 15th, 2025. Hope you are doing so good. Hope you had a great weekend, some fun, some rest. Pardon me. Some relaxation, maybe some recuperation with my little cough there that I have no explanation for. A little tickle in my throat. Get out of here. Yeah, hope all is well. We're gonna get right into it today. I just wanted to jump in and feel the vibes, and without further ado, we're just gonna see what it's given. Okay. 7 of Wands. Somebody is protective or defensive. Let's see which one. That's a low frequency, so I would say defensive, or that could be actually protecting themselves from low vibration. That could be it. Like keeping themselves guarded against low frequencies, like the 5 of Cups, which could be depression, could be despair, sadness, hopelessness. Maybe somebody's doing a lot of protective work, or it could be, I did say recuperation, didn't I? So it could even be someone that has felt those energies before and like sees them coming or sees them trying to well up and is taking all the necessary precautions to just make sure they're not overpowered by it or overtaken by it. It could be something like that. Could even be, practically speaking, you know, keeping certain people, places, keeping themselves distanced from certain people, places, and things. Could be, with the 7 of Wands, that could be an active card. Could be increasing some activity, you know, doing things that you love that are counteractive to depression, let's say, or sad feelings of sadness or something like that. Like, just, I don't know. Let's see what else. Or they know the signs, so they get into action. Like, nope, we're not doing that. You know, when they start feeling a little lazy, or a little, I don't know, like a little, they see the signs and the symptoms ahead of time, and they start to get into action to either reverse it or to repel it. It's quite aggressive, whatever it is, the response and reaction. But what's this 5 of Cups about? Let's see. It's about Page of Cups. Hold on, let me see. About a message that was received, or this could just be, like I said, the internal signals that someone's picking up. They starting to feel a little funny, like that fish in the cup, a little imbalanced. Let me see. Four of Pentacles. A message or some type of about something being withheld. What is this? Why does this feel so confusing? Or someone's holding back information or withholding affection. Let me see. Or someone may, okay, this could be that. Okay, withholding, okay. So it could be someone pretty much, like this is a part of that reaction and response, like looking like they have it all together, they're stable, they're sound, you know, like, oh, nope, we're all good here. Whether this, it could be them reassuring themselves for the purposes of repelling these depressive feelings, or it could be what they're, or because it could be both, a little bit of both, they are also projecting this sense of security to the public or to whomever may be watching or observing. That's why I'm probably confused, because it's like, what's going on here? Is this a front? Is this a facade? I don't know, but something's going on, and it's at the page level. It's at a very sensitive source. Page is like, the Page of Cups in this case could be like a childhood wound that's resurfacing, that someone's, oh, okay, so someone may be resisting to have to really deal with and confront because of the the sorrow that it evokes. So they're so they're trying to do everything active that they possibly can to not have to confront this issue. And that means saving face for the public. That means almost like you know, like almost I won't say deluding themselves, maybe distracting themselves. Yeah, because it's just too much to think about actually confronting and dealing with something so deep and so sensitive. Okay. Interesting. All right, what else here? And my sense of confusion may also be, it could be a reflection of someone's delusion or how they want to delude themselves, or it could be the confusion that observers are experiencing, where someone may think that they kind of have it all under control with this Four of Pentacles here, but it's showing somehow, like it's evident somehow that someone is going through something, to say the least. It could be in how they communicate. It could be in how they maybe even impulsively react and respond, according to people looking from the outside in. It could be the sensitivity someone is kind of expressing, or like I said, like, well, I don't think I actually finished this thought, but with depression, let's say, for instance, those signs can be masked, but they can also be quite evident. Like it could even be in how someone is presenting themselves, you know, is they think they look well put together, but actually it's like people can notice like something's a little bit off. Somebody's not as fly as they usually are, or as clean as they usually are, or as not even fly, but just like well put together or well kept. You know, could be that. But like I said, it could, they may not mean to show that, but there are signs that are just evident. And even that is cause for someone to even double down on this sense of this projection of security, because they maybe they're okay, maybe they're it can't help, they can't help but for certain signs to be evident, so there's a doubling down on secured, like the appearance of security, to kind of save face for what's lacking. I don't really know how that gets to look, because I'm seeing it more materially, which I don't feel the cards are as evident for. Like if someone is, maybe not, because I was gonna say, like if someone's like lost a home, or maybe they're not able to dress as fly, like maybe they got to repeat some pieces or some outfits, when once upon a time, you know, you'd never catch somebody wearing the same thing twice, and that sends off a little bit of an alarm. But I don't know how they would overcompensate for that. Maybe with this, okay, this is real, I'm just gonna say how I feel it, but they may overcompensate for appearances by projecting off this like elevated mindset, like, oh, I've, like they had a come to Jesus moment, or they've evolved or changed in some way, and they realized that spending all their money on frivolous things and material things wasn't really, you know, it wasn't productive or whatever. And so that's the reason why, you know, now almost I feel it in a very preachy way almost. This is weird because it's not in the cards yet, but I'm feeling like this preachy energy of projection, like, yeah, like almost exalting themselves with this ideology of transformation, where they don't invest their energy or their money or resources in such things, because they realize that it's beneath them, it's blah blah whatever, you know what I mean? Like, okay, cool, and that will be fine, except for that's really not what it is. You know, it's really that somebody can't afford to do it like that anymore, or they literally don't have it to floss. You know, this is just a simple example, but it's something strange that I'm feeling here, and that probably was what the confusion and the haziness was, because it's like somebody's trying to throw people off the scent of their misfortune, you know, whether this is sheerly emotional or something more material, because the Four of Pentacles is very material, but they're taking some type of action, or they're proactive in some way, or maybe just reactive, but either way, they're taking some type of steps to try to distract from what's really going on, whether it's distract themselves or distract others. But the thing is, it's not really that effective. It may throw some simple-minded people off the scent for a while, but it's not really that sophisticated of a facade in actuality. You know, like, it's not really doing what somebody wants it to do for themselves, or for whomever they feel is observing or watching or keeping tabs or whatever. It's like, no, your slip is showing. that type of thing. 10 of Cups, and it kind of came out on the side a little bit, but yeah, this could be given, like, pardon me, this could be given the energy of family, or some type of association, soul tribe of like it could be someone being a part of an association where it matters for them to be seen a certain type of way. You know, that's what I'm getting here. Or whose opinions matter to whomever this energy is. Like maybe they might be wanting to hide what's really going on with them from family and kind of put on this face of like, you know, I'm doing great, everything's fine, I'm living my best life type of energy. But if it's family, then they definitely are on to this person, because you know they know the deal. If it's some type of like friend association or folks that are just connected in some type of intimate way, shoot, they probably know too. You know, like I said, somebody's slip is showing, so it's not really as convincing as they think it is. Or because I just felt a left out energy too from this 10 of Cups. Somebody feels isolated in some way, and it could be, like I said, on how they're kind of isolating themselves with this facade, where when you're not being true to yourself, it's hard to feel at ease anywhere else, you know, even if it's a good situation with the 10 of Cups. Like if something's not well with your soul, so to speak, you can't really get right anywhere else or with anybody else or doing anything in particular. So it could be someone kind of feeling lonely, even in the midst of a group or a family or some type of intimate dynamic. Like they feel lonely because they're not being authentic. But there's a part of them that may feel like they can't be authentic either, because there is a fear of being outcasted, or fear of being dejected or rejected. Or just the fear of like sticking out like a sore thumb amongst folks, again, that opinions are highly regarded, or I'll say deeply regarded. Maybe not so highly, but seriously. Yeah, there's some type of benefit here to being connected with this 10 of Cups. There's some privilege, there's some advantage. And that could be why someone, like I said, is still holding up. It could even be like, yeah, like it's giving like rich friends, maybe. And that goes back to what I was saying, or rich family, whatever. That goes back to what I was saying about somebody kind of fronting, where it kind of felt like I was reaching a little bit, to be honest, even to me, like somebody fronting about why they don't really look the par of wealth or rich anymore, because they've evolved beyond it. You know, they've simplified their life or something like that. But this ain't the crew that's really, this is the crew that is materially focused, you know, maybe not superficially perhaps, because it is the 10 of Cups and it is the Ace of Pentacles, which are high vibrational. But there's something that there's a core value here in this association that someone is feeling devoid of, either because they can't participate, they can't relate really and truly, or because their circumstances have changed in a way that just doesn't allow them to keep up with the Joneses per se. And it's on, you know, starting to be more and more evident that is the case, no matter how someone kind of holds on or resists this exposure or resists this change. You know, it's like they're trying to metamorphosis their self or metamorphosize, I don't know what the word is, themselves into some elevated being. Like, oh, y'all still on that? Like, this one I'm on. Like, almost trying to kind of gaslight the crew a little bit, almost put them down for their materialistic ideals and elevate themselves so that they can still find some leverage to fit in, even though they wish or they would want to be able to play the game, the Joneses game, with everybody else, but there's some circumstance that's not allowing them to. This is so funny because it feels so specific, but I don't know. Let me see. I mean, the best case scenario is somebody might actually trick themselves into transforming and elevating their, they may just delude themselves into shifting their mindset kind of by default or by circumstance, but it may just happen in that regard. But it's definitely not the first choice. And that could be the cause for the depression or the hopelessness, because of this constant effort that's having to be kept up to project this identity that's not really true, and amongst a collective of folks that don't really value that anyway. So it's like what somebody's trying to sell as the higher frequency is not, like I said, like it's not what is coveted, or what is, what's the word that I just heard? Like, it's not like what's honored, but reverenced, I guess I should say, amongst the crew. It's like they're trying to force feed some folks to kind of drink their Kool-Aid, literally with the Page of Cups, so to speak. But the real thing is that it's time for someone to truly be separated from something that is no longer in alignment with who they are, probably physically or naturally, but also spiritually. But the hardest thing to accept is the spiritual aspect for someone here, because they don't want to accept that here. This defense against this Five of Cups is like not even really wanting to accept the fact that they're not even happy in that space with those people doing those things, like pursuing these endeavors. Like the front is that they've changed and they're elevated to something new and improved. But in the reality is they miss it, or they want to be a part of it, but they don't want to accept that it's not in alignment with what their spirit needs anymore. It's not in flow. But there's so much pressure associated with truly separating itself from this dynamic, or this association, again, of fear of missing out, fear of feeling rejected, just the fear of failing, perhaps, or falling short. Those are the energies that someone wants to curb or get around, or what's the right word? Like avoid altogether. So they're trying to shift the frequency of where they really want to be, so that it can fit their mold, or they can fit it. But really they need to just shift their energy toward something more healing, really and truly. Like I said, like really be that change that they're preaching about or projecting. Three of Wands. Yeah, seeing ahead or waiting for some type of return on this investment that, I mean, if I can speak out of turn, is never coming in the way that they're looking to receive it. It's like waiting for all their efforts to pay off and maybe for people to get on their wave, or just kind of like let them be, you know what I mean? Let them do their thing and still be a part, still reap the benefits of whatever this association is, but just kind of let them play their own little game. It's given that somebody doesn't even really care. That's why I was saying this, your slip is showing. It's like somebody might not care so much that they're offbeat or out of step with this association or this group, if they could get away with it, which is what the effort is, to try to shift the frequency of it so that they can fit within it peacefully, you know, easefully, almost kind of force themselves really into it peacefully for their sake, but really it's a force. What was I going to say? Like someone doesn't really care if they as long as they can still be apart on their own terms. But it's something about this that feels exclusive. Like it's a type of energy, back to the more material aspect of this, that if you're not driving a certain car or making a certain type of money, a certain type of income, or you don't live a certain lifestyle holistically, whatever that is, maybe it's not material, but there's a certain value that is upheld, and there's a word that I keep wanting to say, certain value that is prioritized, maybe exalted is the word, I don't know, but there's something that's upheld here that if you're not with it, then you can't be a part of it. And what I was going to say on the material side is like you stop having the clout or the money or the influence that you used to have, and your friends kind of dissipate. People stop picking up your calls as much, or don't text back so much, or you don't get invited to the same gatherings and parties and things like that like you used to. Like slowly but surely you start to kind of see your connection fade within a crowd or a group or whatever. And that's the part that's a hard pill to swallow, but the easy pill to swallow is the acceptance that you're not supposed to be a part of that crowd anymore. Once somebody can kind of literally, the hard pill, the Ace of Pentacles, or the fish in the cup, whatever, it's like once somebody can get over the fact that that's just not where they're meant to be in this season, or that season has passed or whatever, the sooner they can get on with it, they can move on with life, as my phone is ringing. All right, let's see. And they can truly look forward to something more positive in the future when they let go of the past. We at, oh good, 29 minutes. I think I can get this done in about 10 more. Let's see. $3:38 on the clock, which is the sum of 5. So yeah, somebody's resistant to change. Yeah, they feel like they're missing out because the party's over there. That's what that is. And they really are The thing is, they really are on a different wavelength, but the sacrifice to be on that wavelength is excruciating for somebody. Because this is what's going on. And mind you, 3333 could be significant. This is what's going on while they over there being being forced to face, not really forced, but it just sounds good, being forced to face the future. This is what's going on, like what's being left behind. Interesting, because I just listened to, and I'm only saying this because I literally just got a flash of it. But I just listened to Ghetto Nun's Grab Bag Monday, and it was something about like Sodom and Gomorrah. And she had mentioned, I mean, if you know the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, which most people do, at least the surface ideal of it all. But she was talking about how, you know, if you're so blessed, let's say, more or less, if there's grace enough for you to kind of get away from the debauchery, then you'll end up watching the destruction from like an elevated place, like from the mountains or the hills or a distance at best. And that's what this is given. Like somebody is being set aside to kind of be outside of the foolishness, but in this case someone may still mourn to be a part of it, so they're not fully accepting the gift, as it is the Ace of Pentacles, of actually being pulled out of something, even if it feels harsh, it feels abrupt, it feels sudden, it, you know, may even be painful, you know, to be isolated or set apart in a certain type of way, is really for someone's own good, for their greatest good at that. Because just me having that flash of her message, she specifically talked about how Lot more or less got to look back and oversee pretty much the burning and the ashes of Sodom and Gomorrah from a distant place, where he would have been in it if not for his obedience to leave when he did. You know, so while people are still having a good time toasting to the so-called good life, and there's separations happening, disconnections happening, it's like you need not mourn if you've been disconnected from a certain thing, because it's just an indication that it's just the season for that, and it's for it could be for your own survival, but it could definitely be for your own ascension as well, you know. But this is somebody that's still kind of like stuck, you know, like they don't see, all they see is that the good times are still rolling, or there's a potential for there to be some good times still rolling, some partying and bullshitting that they would want to be a part of. And so they're trying, like I said, they're trying to shift the frequency to suit their elevation. If here's the thing, based off what I just said, maybe someone actually does feel like it's time for them to elevate their mindset or do something different, so they want to try to take the whole squad with them, or change the vibration of the squad so that they can peacefully exist within it. But it ain't meant for that. You know, it's not their call to do it that way. Their call is to be set aside and set apart, and allow themselves to deal with whatever this spiritual deficiency may be between themselves and God, ultimately, or definitely between themselves and their supreme, you know, or their self and their supreme. Somebody's got some healing, some growing, some evolving to do, and it's not going to happen with the crew. It can't. Not with the crew they were in the debauchery with, you know. Like I said, it's like they not on that, so you can't. And it's no shade even, really, because everybody has their own choice, so you can't force someone to be on what you on. You know, you just gotta go where your heart is leading you, or where your spirit is guiding you. Wow, with the Emperor here. It could be someone being urged to, you know, take some authority over their energy. Like, that's definitely, okay, yeah, okay. So someone is giving Emperor energy and they still want to party with the commoners or the common folk. You know, they still want to get down with the civilians or the citizens when they're being called to a higher responsibility and accountability for their actions. Like, you're supposed to be leading a legacy or a movement, not, and that's what they had. That's the thing. Like, they may have the strength, the influence to make changes within an association, but if it's not ordained for that, for that to be the case, it's just somebody pretty much just going against the grain and exhausting themselves in the process. Maybe this is someone that's needing to, you know, start their own empire or start their own organization or find a new job or find their own identity, you know, like, and find it in the way that truly allows them to be their best selves, you know, for lack of a less what do you call it, like a less oversaturated term. But literally, like, somebody's being called to wield some authority or some position of power, and they are still stuck, like they're playing small, you know, like they're using the power and force that they have, or they want to try to change this little dynamic to make this their kingdom, when it's like, nah, them ain't your people. You know, it's like Lot wanting to stay in Sodom and Gomorrah. Like, you don't belong there. They're not on your frequency. They're not on you. It's a mismatch in energy and wavelength. So someone's being called higher or called out, and it's pretty much up to them, like, what they'll be willing to do, how they'll be willing to answer that call. I'm gonna leave that Emperor card as the last one, because the potential is there. You know, the appointment, let's say, is there, that someone has all of the power that's necessary to be, you know, a great leader, a great influencer, but they just might be using it, and they're using it in a way that is not going to gain them the best return on their investment, or if any return or reward at all. It's just more or less seems like, you know, wasted energy, whether it's the front for other people not to know what's up, or the front to your friends and family. It's the shape shifting yourself to fit a mold within a dynamic, or trying to shape shift an entire dynamic to fit your mold. And it's like, nah, this is a very independent position here, with a great deal of responsibility and accountability for their own honor. And everybody's just not on that, or everybody would be an emperor. There would be no followers. There'll be no there'll be no citizens or common folk or whatever. And it's not about, you know, being better than. It's about the acceptance of an honor that's been bestowed upon you. You have that choice too, and if you don't want to receive it or accept it, so be it. You can continue on and, stuff yourself into this cookie cutter mold, or try to make other things fit within yours, but it won't make you any more happy or any more fulfilled or any more secure or any more protected, or stable. It won't bring any more promise to someone's life to do that for the long run. So let's see what we got on the bottom, and then I'm out of here. It's just conflict and confusion. And it's also, again, here's the change. 5 again is somebody relentlessly fighting to prove to themselves that they can gain the upper hand in the way that they see fit, but it really is cause for a surrender or a submission, at least. Like, submit to what the higher calling is at this time. Submit to what reality is signaling, because like I said, this is someone that could actually be losing finances or depleted from where they were. Could actually be sad or depressed about their current circumstances. So it's not like all the signs and synchronicities aren't there, but this is someone being relentless to resist. Oh man, I saw that peeking out. Yeah, with the devil here and then the Knight of Swords, like they're being relentless. They're still chasing an illusion. And it's ultimately just going to lead to a defeat. So I don't know, maybe it has to come full circle for some people to kind of fully to hit a wall, before they can surrender. But it never has to be that bad. That's a choice, is pretty much what I'm getting here. Like, it's all a choice. Someone could put just as much energy at the 7 of Wands into the hard thing, which is releasing the things that aren't serving them or not in alignment with where they are at this time, as they are putting into trying to hold on to them. And my phone just lit up at 3:51, which is a 9. It's the completion of a cycle, whether somebody likes it or not. So, they could either get down or lay down in spirit or in flesh, because this devil card here peeking out, and it wasn't the top card that I was only really looking to pull this, but this one kind of slipped out. So see how I said, like, your slip is showing, and it's, someone is in a chokehold, a stronghold, in some way, shape, or form, in a way that either they can't fully see or they just refuse to see. Like, someone doesn't know how obsessed, possessed, or attached they've become to a dynamic, either because it's just been such a way of life or such a conditioning for them to live a certain type of way or go along in a certain type of frequency, but they don't understand the sheer threat that their insistence has become. This is a dangerous path here for someone to be that attached to things that are more or less diabolical, that don't have any core value, really, whether it could be even addictions or entanglements with people, debauchery, obsessions or possessions, being possessed by certain ideals. Like, they're not seeing where the danger is quite yet. They're not seeing that they're ultimately giving their power to forces that are destructive, whether it be people, places, or things. All this power, all this potential is ultimately being sacrificed, or just outright handed over, to a force that ultimately is beneath them. I will say it in this case, like this is something that is beneath the best of what someone is capable of. So, I don't know. That's what it is today. So, and this could be in a dramatic way, but it can also be in a primitive and practical way too, of just trying to make yourself fit into something that you have outgrown. That could be a job. That could be, again, friends. It could be a way of life. It could be a place, a house, a state, a city. It just doesn't fit. It doesn't embrace the best of who you are, and you don't fit within it anymore. Whatever it is, there's a danger for it to become a stronghold that once it takes form, it may feel like it's harder to release yourself from than it actually is. That's the illusion. Is when you stay in a place or doing a thing or with people too long, you start to feel deluded or, glamored to believe that there's nothing else outside of that, or you have no other choices. So that's when it becomes dangerous, because if your spirit is giving you an exit, it's always best to take it, because you could be kicked out of much better places against your will, for that matter. All right, so yeah, thank you for listening, thank you for watching. Until next time, as always, I'll leave you with peace.